In today's video, I want to share with you one of the investment strategies that I personally use to purchase real estate in the Dominican Republic and recommend to my clients. For some reason, many people think that in order to buy property in a warm country, you need to save up money for years. And even if you have the money, maintaining such a property will be expensive, which means it's out of their reach. That's not true. Here's one way you can get a property that you can use for your family's vacations without investing a single penny of your own money, without spending a cent on its upkeep, and in 10 years, you could end up with $500,000 US. It might sound unrealistic, but in fact, I've tested this myself. And really, I'm not unique in this. I didn't invent anything new. Many people who buy property in a tropical paradise do exactly the same thing. Of course, you can do this yourself, but using our company's service is much more advantageous. First of all, it's absolutely free for you. Secondly, we are experts in the areas where it's profitable to buy property and where you can use this kind of scheme. And thirdly, as a master broker in many projects in the Dominican Republic, with us, you can buy even cheaper than if you bought directly from the developer. And finally, in order to buy using the scheme I'm about to tell you about, you need to arrange financing, and our company's financial specialists will help you do that. So, let's get to the numbers. Let's look at such a purchase using a real example of one of the apartments in our projects, which went on sale at the beginning of the summer. Right now, it is 50% sold, and there are still about 10 great apartments left here. To purchase a spacious two-bedroom apartment here with breathtaking views of the ocean and mountains, and the area of such an apartment is about 120 square meters, which is approximately 1,300 square feet. And this isn't some tiny apartment, but truly a super luxury option in the best project currently available on the Samaná Peninsula, which will be completed at the beginning of 2027. To make the purchase, you will need $240,000 US. You don't need to pay the full amount up front. When signing the contract, you need to pay 20%, which is $48,000. And over the 2 years of construction, you make 4 more payments totaling $96,000. Where do you get this money? It's very simple. We arrange a line of credit at a Canadian bank. The easiest way to do this is to use your existing property as collateral, or you can refinance, meaning you increase the mortgage on your own home. I won't go into complicated interest calculations here, I'll just give you the number. You can check it yourself if you want. Over the 2 years of construction, that is until the apartment starts generating income for you, the interest on the money paid during construction will cost you approximately $12,000. We arrange the line of credit with a margin. Accordingly, during the construction phase, we will need a line of credit of $190,000. We also pay the interest from this line of credit. Accordingly, we don't take a single cent out of our own pocket. And by the end of construction, the line of credit will have a debt of $156,000. Next, we add here the remaining amount that needs to be paid at closing, which is $100,000, that is the remaining 40% of the purchase price, and the payment to the lawyer, which is about $4,000, for the property registration and transfer of ownership. In addition to this, we need to purchase furniture and everything necessary to make the apartment ready for short-term rental. And if you don't want to handle everything yourself by running around stores, but instead buy a complete furniture decor and rental essentials package from the developer, for an apartment like this, it will cost about $30,000 more. As a result, we end up with a debt of $286,000. There are several options for financing the purchase. The first option is to increase the already opened credit line from $190,000 to $290,000. The second option is to refinance the mortgage on your own home. Both the first and second options are Canadian financing, and for these you need to show income in Canada. The third option is to arrange financing through a Dominican bank. It will be a bit more expensive, but it won't require a high income and it won't show up on your credit history. Depending on the type of financing you choose, servicing the resulting debt will cost you between $12,000 and $20,000 per year. Let me remind you, in this case, you haven't invested a single penny of your own money. Now let's talk about renting. Let's say in the first few years you'll come here a couple of times a year for 2 weeks each, and the rest of the time the apartment will be rented out through the complex's management. At the same time, you won't have to do anything yourself. Here is a table showing the rental income calculation for this complex. Let's use the average occupancy rate for our calculations. Gross income is $51,100 per year. Expenses are $14,385, and net income is $36,715. And what is also very important to note is that this particular project falls entirely under the comprehensive Confata Resort real estate law. You have zero taxes, no property taxes, no income tax on short-term rentals, and no capital gains tax at the end. From the net income, we subtract the interest on the loan. Let's take a financing rate that's neither the best nor the worst. On average, that's $15,000 per year. Accordingly, the annual rental income is enough to cover the interest on the loan, and already in the first year, pay off about $17,000 of the principal. With each year, the amount of the principal debt will decrease. The interest on the loan will become less, while the rental income will gradually increase, so the repayment of the principal will get larger and larger. As a result, in about 10 years, the loan will be fully paid off. Real estate in good areas of the Dominican Republic is steadily appreciating by approximately 8 to 12% per year. But let's take the average 6%. Rent is also constantly and significantly increasing year after year. Today it's about 10% per year. But again, we'll rely on very conservative figures. Let's assume rental prices increase by 6% per year. As a result, in 10 years, the value of your property will be around $450,000. The loan will be fully paid off, and the annual rental income after all expenses will be $60,000. Option 1. You sold the property and received almost $500,000. Although I think that regarding the Samaná Peninsula, in 10 years what costs $250,000 today will be worth at least $650,000. But let's be conservative. So you receive $450,000, and for 10 years you used this apartment for your family's vacations, enjoyed many great experiences, and also saved on hotel costs. Option 2. You didn't sell anything. You retired and spent half the year in Dominican paradise, and it's absolutely free. The rental income you receive for the other half of the year is enough to cover all your expenses for a luxurious life in the Dominican Republic for 6 months. And the third option is when everything stays the same and you visit your apartment a couple of times a year for 2 weeks and have an extra $60,000 added to your pension. So I don't see any reason not to do what I'm doing and what hundreds of our clients have already done. For more detailed information, sign up for a consultation using the link below this video, and I will gladly walk you through all the nuances of how to do the same. See you again on the channel.